Is it on? Mic check. Yep, working all good. Let me now jump. Hello, everyone. This is Rap Raven, your host of the Black Betterment broadcast. Give me 17 seconds to shut down unnecessary windows. Aha, here we go. Cool. There we go. So, let me now switch to the fantastic PDF that we all know and love. Oh, look at that. And we're going to go to Windows mode and go to read mode. All right, cool. How fun. How fantastic. Now, this is the 66th show. And I'm your host, Rap Raven. So, as we normally do when we go through this fantastic show, we have certain house rules, just for those who are joining the first time, those who listen in the future time, or those who listen on a stream or who might be live or not live. The idea of this show is really a community-based show. So, because we always send invites out and people are welcome to jump in, we do have to have some house rules. And we will go through those in a bit. But first, let's break down why we're doing what we're doing. So after much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently Black people are collectively inadequate. Yeah, I've noticed that. Is that a double space there? It looks like a double space. Maybe it's just the way it's been. Yeah, that's probably not. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's what it is. Unfortunately, if you're not aware when it comes to acting as a team and trying to actually work in our own best interest, Black people have difficulty doing this. This is years of training, but we're going to see if we can work that out. You know, and if we don't start today, that means it won't get started. And you know, who knows what's going to happen in the future. So obviously, we're going to throw links out. And when we do, please, if we can use the 4D value systems. And what is the 4D value systems? I hear many people shout and scream. Here they are. Look. So discipline, dedication, discernment, and dignity. That's right. If we can use these 4 things, just these 4 here, 4 of them, right? We will actually be able to help Black people at a much efficient rate. If you don't believe me, try it. If you think I'm deceiving you, try to be disciplined. Try to have dedication, try to show some dignity, and try to use a bit of discernment. Let's see if that helps Black people. I don't know. If it works, come back next show and let me know if it worked in your life, helping Black people. Now I'm going to move on. Also, we can try to use descriptive languages whenever we can. Not necessarily derogatory language, but descriptive language. Very, very important, very important. Because sometimes, people get very passionate and some get emotional, and then certain words fly, and we want to minimize that, especially when we're trying to help Black people, because we might not actually be solution based when we do that. That's one of a big challenge that many Black people suffer is sometimes we get in the back and forth, and we forget to be solution based. And I try to approach them from the greater good and all that good stuff. So if we can, let's do that. Fantastic. Ooh-wee. So for those who don't know, Black Betterment is Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. There you go. Very simple, but you'll be surprised how many Black people do not practice this at all, ever. So we're trying to spread awareness that there are many Black people in the world that are not practicing Black Betterment. Some of you will be shocked, but yes, this is the truth. So we are now promoting the lifestyle of Black Betterment. This entire broadcast is out to promote the lifestyle of Black Betterment. You see, if we can have words, symbols, ways of operating, it makes helping yourselves much more easier. So we've pushed the Black people and Black people into a lifestyle. Voila, fantastic. Now let's move on. We will be showing one video today, so I have to read this stuff out. What it is, we're not getting paid for this, but we don't want to look like we're stealing other people's work because we're studying it. But it's a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1986. Analysis made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarships, and research. Fair use, use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, non-profit, educational, personal use, tips in the balance in favor of fair use. Don't know if I have to say that, but I do anyway. Also, we've taken some videos off that might be flagged, so I've had to put them for a black algorithm, and we've put this kind of like black algorithm that stops things from being shut down, because we're not making money from it. We're actually using the study. I'll be ashamed when they rip it off. They flag your page, and then people can't watch the video, and that's never nice until you cut it out, and then when they watch it, there's bits missing. So that's why it's always best if you can watch the shows live. But we try to have a way of working around that. We've got that. So what are we doing today? Okay, we're going to move. Oh, it's quite a lot of good stuff there, which we ignore. But so today's topic. This is. I should have put part 4 in there, but you remember in your mind part 4. This is part 4 of the Eternal War. Eternal War. We're breaking down 2 sections really. The first section will be. Are there communication challenges between the Black genders? We're talking about the more traditional genders, male and female, men and women, in the traditional sense. I know there's new additions that people push forward. We haven't got to that yet, but between men and women, that good stuff. And then also another part of the Eternal Wars is what motivates jealousy and undermining tactics within the Black community. We started last week with Tells from digital, where when you try to help black people or do something constructive, you might find many black people undermine you. Why do we do this? We're going to find out. We're going to try to talk about it. But we're going to focus on, originally what I wanted to do was show dynamics between challenges that black women go through and maybe challenges that black men go through, take or give or take. And obviously you're going through the internet trying to find certain things and blah blah blah. Some of the stuff that I found where it was black men acting unsynchronized or just completely savage, to be fair. Let me just be honest about that. I wasn't really comfortable showing it. Just give the context. There's videos out there in the interweb of black young men attacking black women for one reason or another, and obviously black women are viewing this and are not best pleased and very shocked, as they should be. And they say comments, and within these comments, obviously, I offer my condolences and not condolences, but offer my synchronization on the fact that this is this despicable behavior and needs to be ironed out and corrected and punished and this kind of stuff. But also, I do invite many black women who view black men all like that, or consistently like that. They feel unprotected to come on the show. I invite them, I give them links, I give them times and dates. Some here, some in Canada, some in America, some all over the world, Africa, wherever you might be. And hopefully, if there's any out there in the interweb, when I throw a link out, you can jump in and give any reasons for you as a black woman of why you are displeased with black men, or you feel maybe the balance is tipping, that there's more destructive black men than constructive black men, or at least in a visual mainstream aid. Who knows? Let me put words in your mouth. You can speak for yourself. Very important we cover that. But I won't be showing any videos like that this time because I don't know if the show is ready for that kind of stuff. It's very disheartening. But we can talk about this kind of stuff. But I do have a video of, obviously there's not too many videos of black women beating up black men, but there are certain videos of like what you try to do, try to listen to complaints of black people. And there's many black men out there. And what there's, for those who don't know, there's a thing now, it's been for a couple of years, but there's the world, which is known as the manosphere. So for those who don't know what the manosphere is, let me see if I can break it down, because the manosphere is hold on. Let me see if I can get there we go. Excellent. Sorry, just sort that out. Excellent. Yeah. So sorry, this thing popping up. Cool. So what I was saying was so we break down the manosphere. Basically, there's a lot of men who have been best pleased with women. So this is not necessarily a black and white thing or black and Asian or whatever thing. There's a man and woman thing going on in the world. And there are many men who feel that, a small select of men are getting, most of the women's attention. And some men feel that they're higher than men, or they're best behavior men, or they're cool men, but because of some physicality issue or something like that, they might not get the women's attention. And they created a space called the manosphere where where many different variants of people who feel similar ways go there. Now, if I can remember, hold on. All right, let me just type this in so I can get excellent. Fantastic. There it is. I don't want to miss. There we go. The manosphere. Found it. Yeah. So if you go on Wikipedia, which is what I was trying to type, the manosphere isn't one kind of thing for women who don't know. Basically, there's a group called MGTOW, which is men going their own way. Big up Empress Kushti, very important contributor. Voila, big up. So that's one people who might find themselves in the manosphere. You have pickup artists, people who train people how to get lots of women. Many men in manosphere appreciate that because many men struggle to find women. If women don't know, this is what it is. And then you have fathers' right groups. Many feel that they've been, their rights are not being listened to when it comes to children and this kind of stuff. So these are the people traditionally in the manosphere. You tend to find that a lot of this is mainly European white people generally. You take or give, but then what you'll find now is you're finding the black manosphere, right? Which is and by the way, I do recommend any kind of variant in life that goes out there. I definitely recommend black people come together to work on their variant of that, because as we know, unfortunately, whenever black people get together with non-black people collectively, give it a few days, few weeks, few months, few years, you'll find that unfortunately black people wind at the bottom, which is an interesting pattern. We're all about patterns here. So one way around that is if you have particular issues and other black people share them to form black variants of that and black groups, And if you are a man who feel hard, hard by women and this kind of stuff, yes, talk to other men, other black men. Okay, cool. So yeah, so the black variant of the manosphere is out there, and what we try to do, try to listen to complaints. So one of the complaints that many black men in the black manosphere have, for those who don't know, is similar to I guess everyone else, where they feel that maybe certain women are not picking them, which is, I guess this is a part of life, but this is what it is at a high rate. But also, I feel there's a disconnect in the sense of they feel that many black women were not necessarily a bit more aggressive. Some are saying, and they're using words like moving away from femininity and becoming more masculine. It might even bleed into the concept of work and stuff. Obviously, we want everyone to be successful, but many women, might be competitive in a role, and men might struggle with this. Who knows? If you're a man and this issue, let me know. But anyway, there's plenty more issues in the black manosphere, but there generally is a displeasement with the mainstream face of black women, and this kind of stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at a video. This is an old video that came out a year ago. But I was trying to find videos, but without things flying everywhere, whatever. So this is a video a year ago of Brother Ice Cube. Brother Ice Cube's a rapper who does some social work and stuff like that, and he was trying to get some kind of thing passed, or at least awareness to deal with black people's issues directly, and particularly. Very good 10 points for that. Very good to do that to highlight issues that black people need in America. And that was what he wanted to do, and be very specific. And he was invited on a show full of black actors and black women, some of who actually worked with him. Probably, I think, were hired by him at some of them, to be honest. They're not thinking of the movies. But anyway, some people thought that their behavior wasn't best, but some people have some stuff like, yes, this is a observable behavior that some black women adopt. And it might be pushing them away from femininity, this kind of stuff. So let's play this. I've added some music and some visuals just so we don't get flagged, because I don't know who owns it. But we're going to see if there's any truth there, and then maybe we can start talking about this kind of stuff. So we are looking from the standpoint of women towards men. Obviously, women have complaints. The complaints I wanted to cover was, do black women feel safe from black men? This is coming from, if there's black men who attack women and make videos, and then when they make videos, you have black men filming and then being attacked, but not actually getting involved to stop it. Something I'm not going to show these kind of videos, although when you do, it's very good. It gets people very emotional, and it gets people to want to really join in. But I just don't think the show can really facilitate that kind of visuals. But maybe it can one day. I don't know. But anyway, before we get there, let's look at the women talking to men, Black Ice Cube, and let's see what's happening here. Press play.
For his now joining us now is a legendary rapper. And
so what we're doing, we're analyzing to see, is there any truth there? Are these particular women that show any kind of strong tendencies towards Brother Ice Cube? Are they willing to listen to what he's saying? Or maybe Ice Cube is wrong in his behavioral patterns? Who knows? Let's observe, and we'll stop and start and talk and all that. And if anyone wants to jump in the link now to review this, you're welcome. Just say yay on the thingamajig, where the writing is, and I'll throw the link. But until then, I shall stop and start and move and all that good stuff. Press play, go.
Film producer who is making headlines not only for his music, but his involvement with policy and politics. Please, everybody, welcome Ice Cube. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing?
Hey, you.
Yo, what's up?
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ladies. I think all actually quite famous in regards of a history of acting and this kind of entertainment. I think, yeah, from looking at them, I think at least 3 of them are, but I could be wrong.
What's up, Lisa Ray? How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you.
Good. How's everybody doing?
Blessed.
Good.
And we're also very appreciative of you taking the time to come talk to us here. I know everyone's trying to get a piece of you and talk to you and have you on their platform. So we definitely appreciate that. So thank you. I want to ask you just
so far, been very nice, which is good. Very good.
Out the gate, how you're doing.
Very nice as well.
How have you been coping with the pandemic, the civil unrest? Black people have always been through trying times, but it's a little extra right now on top of our regular stress. Getting different. We got another layer on top. We got 10 on 20 right now. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. The pandemic, it hit everybody. and caught everybody off guard.
Right. So I'm going to skip through this. Obviously, the niceties. I haven't really put timestamps. Shame on me. So who knows what's going to happen? Peace and blessings to Rap Raven, the Black family. Yeah, excellent piece to end there.
Thank God for D-Body, to our everything right. Switch reels for me.
Let's get
I want to say.
All right, so we got first place speaking. So let's see what the fine sister has to say.
Jump right in then, Q, because I have been, looking at some of the bites from your interview. You did an interview with Roland Martin, which helped me, I want to say, because I will say that when I first heard that you were supporting Trump, I was like, wait a minute, what? Hold on, because you my boy. So I was like, I got a personal insight. I'm going to call him directly.
I didn't say I was supporting Trump. So
very important point there. I think she said she heard bites. I don't think she read the manuscript or whatever. I'm not too sure. But yep, that was a misconception that he was supporting Trump. And that's something about strategy as well, where which I'm going to talk about, strategy and passion and emotion. Like, like if you don't like someone, sometimes you still have to strategize with them. That's a leadership thing. We could talk about another time. But yes, we definitely want to lead with logic on that particular point.
Allegedly, right. That's what I heard. That's what the bite, the sound bites. Yeah. That's why people got to do their research. And I watched that interview, and I heard you break it down to why you were involved, why you met with both sides, and when you got involved, which was not just recently. And so when I said, what contract was he talking about, this contract of Black America? Like, what is that? Where did it come from? I did not know. So when I think of things that I don't know, I automatically assume that a whole lot of people out there don't know. So I would want you to educate me as well. So what did make you go to the administration and speak with them?
Well, what happened was, there was a lot of yelling, a lot of people upset, a lot of reforms being put on the table during George Floyd. But I was looking around for a document that really was speaking on what's the needs in the community and what do we need across the board, not just from government, but from the private sector too. Because there's a lot of companies that are involved in our pain, and they got to pay up too. They owe us reparations as well in some shape or form. So it was nothing. I was looking around. I'm like, damn, where is the document? Where is...
So brother Ice Cube is finding out, why you didn't think dedicated for Black people of America. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a link to, I assume it's his website. I hope so. And you guys can check it out as well if you're interested to see, but while we press play. There you go.
The ask. What are we asking for as a people across the board that deals with not only police brutality, but...
Very good point there. Trying to identify your group and having things directly affect them. Very good strategy. I recommend it for Black people of the world. Get organized and do things that's in your own best interest. Once again, this is a behavior pattern that we have trained not to do. So hence why broadcasts like this are trying to do that and teach that and find creative ways and entertaining ways to allow people to demonstrate that without feeling away.
All our needs. So I started working on it myself with, some smart people I know. We end up getting, economists involved, people like Derek Hamilton. We started to go and just find the smartest minds to help try to put a document together so we can actually have something to say, damn, all this is things we need. This is so anybody Black could look at our document and say, yeah, support this, support, some of the things that we have. Now, I'm not a politician.
Very good point there. One thing I would recommend is, musicians, sport athletes, all can be very intelligent, and some might live, in the political sphere and study, and so be it, that's good, but many don't. So I recommend that using your platform and influence, you try to speak to people who actually do know what they're talking about. And it was that brother Ice Cube has done this.
And I shouldn't be the one to have to put this thing together. We've had politicians in place for a long time, and they haven't come up with something like this. So I was surprised, but that didn't stop me. And we put that together July 1st, and we revamped it about, let me get the timeline here. We revamped it July 19th.
All right.
And from then, people wanted to interview me about it. So I went on just promoting the contract with Black America.
So it's just explaining that, you know, he felt the need to do something. By the way, this is another thing we have to drop about men, black men. One of the challenges many black men faces, or maybe black women's complaints now, and this is, we have to highlight many complaints. Many black women complain that black men do not collectively build anything or change anything, so of any constructive value. So this is something that Ice Cube did. So this has to be recommended and commended and this kind of stuff. All the men that you can have. So that is technically what we want black men to be doing. So hats off for that strategy. And this is one of the complaints that a few black, quite a few black women have about black men not building. So that is part of the process of building. So good.
America, you know, hoping to be contacted by any of the politicians saying, yo, this is a great idea. Everybody that I would show would say, oh, these are great ideas. This is common sense. Mm-hmm. This is things that should be in place already, but they're not. So I was just kind of saying, okay, we're going to.
So now we have, I think, one of the guests with a question.
Yeah, starting an initiative, and I'll make a long story short. I was just going up, basically saying, okay, we're going to go after the private sector. We're going to go after the banks. We're going to go after Hollywood. We're going to go after the people that we know got their hands in the cookie jar. You know what I mean? So then we started to get contacted from the Democrats.
The body language, if you can't, obviously the screen is all is a bit disjointed and turned black and white, but the body and demeanor of the women they don't seem best impressed, to be honest. But it could just be me.
On September 8th, and then we start talking to them. Mm-hmm. Then we got contacted by the Republicans. So that's when the ball started rolling. Then, so it's not just like I just jumped into anything. I mean, I just did the contract, and then people started to contact me.
So I know it's long, but just letting him explain, because I think after he explains, they're not best pleased with it. So let's just explain, just to make sure we understand, you know, his role and what they were trying to do.
Not the other way around. I was hoping the Democrats would be all over me.
Keep in mind, I will send out the link shortly after this, so if people want to jump in. The question that I'll be asking you is, are you a man who is concerned about black women, the culture of maybe things you're seeing, and you wish to have a place to discuss it and find solutions if you feel that maybe there is black women collectively doing things that you find challenging? I know there's people out there. And then vice versa, are you a black woman who feels that black men have dropped the ball? We need to really find ways of improving that. Let me know in the thing. We shall follow the link very soon.
But you know, that wasn't the case, and I understand. It wasn't like I was throwing a fit. I just was like, okay, we're going at the private sector. And then the Republicans contacted me, and to me, if you're speaking for black people, you should speak to whoever is in power or about to be in power.
And I think you had a statistic, you said something about there has been 7,000 black people elected, and you felt like in offices for us, and you felt like they ain't made a change. We've not come far at all with 7,000 of us in there. What are we going to do? Who is going to take this and say, okay, I'll be in the front line of this, and then get in the front line and have everybody come on board with you? Because let's be honest, you are Ice Cube and you do have a huge platform. So I would say that for me to know that you've been using your platform to be able to have an initiative like that, I think it's worth you doing the interviews that you're doing and letting everybody know and hear your voice on why.
I want to jump in and say, I just don't think it's that fair to the 7,000 of black elected officials that have been in office.
Right, to say that they've done nothing.
Yeah, because I think that is,
So it looks like the ladies on the panel are not best pleased with Ice Cube saying that the black politicians up until this point haven't really done much for black people, and he's trying to find ways to rectify that. I think they're about to explain that.
I think that's a slippery slope to walk down, because as we saw with Barack,
a lot of progress has been made.
It's not as simple as you get elected and bam, you can make all these changes one man.
Right.
I never
go watch that as well. Yes, we have to be merciful to black people. We understand power, how it works and stuff, but we also want to hold people accountable, and we also don't want to make it easier, because we do know we in certain places of power, whether it's church or politicians or religious institutions, you can get comfortable, you can get in a place of payment and just be the face and get paid. which, you know, at first the symbolic gesture was kind and nice to see black people in certain places, but generally you want a person who's going to make changes. So of course we want to be merciful to black people, but we also have to hold people accountable. So, but maybe the ladies are being very kind, which is always good when women be kind.
Said that 7,000 people, black people, have never did anything. I said that since the 60s, there's been over 7,000.
That's another thing, putting words in men's mouth. I think this is something that we want to highlight. Do these women here put words in Ice Cube's mouth? This is a complaint that some black manosphere people might have, that when you are arguing with certain types of black women, this kind of behavior happens. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're wrong in me explaining what they say, but that's what I'm interpreting from some of the complaints from my research. I invited many manosphere men and black women to come on to discuss this, and hopefully they will, but you never know. You never know.
Right? Black politicians elected in prominent positions, and our situation, you know, as far as the wealth gap hasn't changed. We flatlined from the 60s to now. We have not gained or closed the wealth gap. So that's the
very important point that you see that all over the diaspora. When you have black people interacting with other people, and that same pattern seems to happen. Patterns are important.
Major problem. I understand we got a lot of people, you know, working hard for progress. That just the facts are, it hasn't happened in the traditional way. So that's why I want to break the mold.
So, I just want to say, first of all, you know, there's this whole cancel culture that we have. First of all, ain't nobody canceling no.
So, I mean, everyone has their own way of speaking and their style of delivery, and this might not be the place for women to really men to show certain kind of traits and personalities and whatever it might be, right? But this Selena Johnson, she already seems. I mean, I'm probably wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me. She seems to be somewhat on the charge. Could be wrong. And if this is how she normally conducts herself with the persona she's pushing out, maybe there's something we could review. But then I understand that when women get in a certain place, they have to be combative to get to a certain point. I understand that. But when we're talking with other black people, when we're all on the same page, we want to make sure we try to talk in a unison rhythm. But maybe it's just me. Who knows? Press play.
Damn Ice Cube. Let me just say that first out the gate. This is NWA.
Thank you.
He was the first to say fuck the police. So go sit down. Nobody's canceling Ice Cube, and if you are canceling, that's fucking stupid. Second of all, I do think
would recommend we try to keep it political, but you know, everyone has their own style.
That it is very good that you are taking an initiative to, and I like how you say bipartisan, because that means both parties. This is for both parties. We want both.
Femininity, we're going to actually cover that as well. Maybe I can get some femininity coaches as well. Like everyone has freedom to deal with them. I came across some really good feminine and masculine videos of training the importance of them and stuff. And they were saying that, you know, women who swear quite a lot, this might not necessarily be perceived by men as a feminine trait. If the men agree, disagree, let me know. Are you a man who's looking for a feminine woman? And do you find it alluring when you find black women swearing? Is this a feminine trait or is it not? If you're a black man and it doesn't bother you, so be it. If you're a black man, it does bother you, let's talk about it, but let's carry on.
Both parties to jump onto this. This is not just, oh, this person, that person. We want everybody to grab a hold on to what African-American people need singularly. And I remember we talked about this on Cocktails. Remember, Lisa Ray, when you asked the question before, you were like, well, who's going to do something? Who's going to lead singularly for African Americans? Now, I do know that there have been tons of initiatives. CBC has initiatives all the time, Congressional Black Caucus, the Nation of Islam, hey, right here, National Agenda. They've had an entire agenda that happened right after the Million Man March. It was presented to, what's the name? The president that was in, what's the name? Clinton. It was presented to the Clinton administration. Mm-hmm. So we have tried. There has been trying going on. But one thing I do like about your initiative is that it is singular to Black people. That gap, that wealth gap is
very important. That's a good note. 10 points for noticing that.
And it does need to be fixed immediately. But here's my question. I watched you on the Black Report the other day, on Friday, and they asked you, hey, Q, what do you think about, you know, when you see the Black Man March and how does that make you feel? And you said something that was really profound that stood out to me. You said, you know what? I wish that Black people and Black men could watch this over again and get back to this, because you said even myself, we need to get back to this type of unity, this type of connecting. And so my thing is, let's say whoever get in office, it ain't gonna matter. The initiative is set, and then it's like nothing's happening, or something is happening, or whatever, you know, it's there. Now what? Let's say they give us all the $500 billion that we asked for. Do you honestly think, and I'm not even trying to be funny or trying to catch nobody up or nothing, I'm just asking like a real question. With the state of how our community is already broken, how we already have PTSD, how we already are not connecting already interculturally, the infrastructure of African Americans in general is just jammed up with or without money. Do you think, and what could be the process of, once we get this money, of implementing it properly into our communities and really being able to allocate it where it makes sense?
Very good question. Very good question. Just for those who are joining, we're analyzing a conversation that came out a year or so ago by Brother Ice Cube and Three Ladies on the Fox Soul Network, I think it was. Go watch them and all that good stuff. Yeah, and we're just finding out, we're answering the big question of, is there a disconnect in communications between the black males and black females, black men, black women, and men who complain that maybe some women might be aggressive or feminine and this kind of stuff. When they don't need to be, and find out how to reason with men. And then obviously we have the complaints about women who find that some men might are aggressive and this kind of stuff. So, you know, bloody good stuff. But let's carry on listening. We're in listening mode. That's right. This is quite an educational kind of broadcast, or at least a homework based thing where we are asking you to participate, listen, and learn. Press play.
It matters, and what's going to be necessary for that to happen.
Well, you know, what I said on the show about the Million Man March was the fact that.
So what we're going to notice is no matter what Ice Cube retains his demeanor, we're going to skip through this, to be honest. He's just going to explain, you know, whatever he's explaining. But what we're noticing, the demeanor of Ice Cube doesn't necessarily change the word patterns and what he's doing. Even though he does soon come under fire, or some people have interpreted under fire from the four ladies at the show.
What do you think is going to make them start in the next 4 years that they are given more and given more during the?
Another thing we have to, and this thing, I might be really into it, but I'm just probably going to do it anyway from someone who speaks publicly. One thing that happens when you go out and you talk to black people about trying to start initiatives. First of all, we have to encourage people to start initiatives and take, you know, the bull by the horns and this kind of stuff, right? But one thing we do is we start othering them. We start othering people, and we start actually you know, looking to them for all the solutions, not knowing that we are part of it as well. And yes, you can ask questions, but sometimes I do recommend we ask questions in a team-based way. But it could just be me.
Pandemic. I know you got to take a break. Hold that thought, but I just got to ask that and make that statement, because you can't make them tell them all of that, and they've been there for 3.5 years. So
I ain't trying to make them do nothing. So.
We need them to do something if we're going to trust them to do it.
Hold on, guys. We got to take a quick break. Okay. I definitely want to talk about that. I definitely want to talk about QB. Hit on some very, very good points about the military. But this current administration is using the military to enforce their own agenda, and we want to talk about that. So let's take a quick break. A push with your intention, but I feel like you know how they use us all the damn
points to black people. These are country issues to plan. So now.
Get by, see if we can find it.
I don't agree with that.
With that said,
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with. Can I? I don't know.
Let's see what they don't agree with, because I don't really know. They're disagreeing.
For 9 minutes, he never support them. I mean,
I'm not here to fight about what he.
Oh, looks like we've missed a bit of a fight. When we skip, we always seem to skip. Me go back. Sorry. All right, you know, some of you might say this is actually not aggressive at all. Maybe not. Maybe we're making a mountain over a molehill, but we are trying to find things that's been out there that shows a dynamic.
Two black people, the stuff that he's doing to the rest of the country, I understand that, but we raggedy. We got to get our. We have to. We have to press any president that ends up winning. We have to.
Do you feel that Brother Ice Cube is a bit more composed than the four ladies, or not so much? It'll be interesting to know. Is there an expectation that black men should be composed and black women not as composed when talking about political stuff? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right.
Press, or it's not going to work. We can't just press one side.
He says when we do press them that the other people are fine people. I mean, is that right? I mean, and he won't denounce. And he won't denounce the people that hurt us and suppress us. And and then the policeman had his neck on somebody's neck for 9 minutes. He never support them.
I'm not here to fight about what he did, what he didn't do. Is he a good white man? Is he a bad white man? To me, they pretty much all the same. So
I don't agree with that.
I don't know what she's disagreeing, but this don't agree stuff you might see a bit. Do some people disagree to disagree, or disagree to cause another talk?
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with. Can I? I don't agree. I used to be.
Well, look. I know we've had all kind of presidents, and our situation hasn't changed. So that's why I said they're pretty much all the same when it comes to a president and dealing with our situation.
So let me. I gotta ask this question. Because you're on this show with the cocktails with the Queen, and there's a reason for that. It wasn't to have you defend or not defend Donald Trump. It was about. I care about what's in this contract with Black America for women, and it's not. We're not mentioned at all in the contract with Black America. And
you are mentioned. I mean, when you mention Black people, you mentioning Black women. So don't count yourself out.
No, that's not true.
That's like administration say.
This is a good point. This is actually why we're listening to the show. So basically, the women here felt that women were not included in the agenda for the contract for Black America. This is so something that we're going to review. Do Black women take themselves out? Do Black men take themselves out of the collective? Or yes, definitely Black women have particular issues, but let's see if we can really see more.
Black people is not Black women. Black women are not included in Black people.
No,
But
that's like you saying. That's like when the president says minorities, then he's including Black people. But we all know that that's not the case. Black women have specific needs that are not also being met. And we also feel that there should be some things that are specific to us and our plight as well. And
I understand that.
I feel like as a Black man, you can lead.
No,
I feel like
I just offered y'all to write a section up for it. I just said I don't mind if you guys help us. If you guys help us write a section. No, I've been open to.
And so now we're moving more to what I'm talking about in the sense of you have Ice Cube is probably underqualified for any kind of political role of a certain length, and you have to obviously lean on other people who have more experience in it. But when someone takes initiative, how do we react to them as a people? I mean, for some people, this might just be normal everyday banter, but for some people, I'm reading the comments now, and it seems to be consistent. Like most people weren't best pleased with the way the women conduct themselves. A lot of comments. This was painful to watch. Big up Ice Cube. Sad to hate to see Black women attacking a Black man. Very sad. So once again, when we use language like Black woman, Black man, they are breaking down to see, is that a dynamic that happens in the Black community? Women are very disappointing. Look how the hell did they exclude Black women out of Black people? Black women can't control their emotions. Let me not work on that one. So disrespectful. Low emotions, intelligence. Lisa Ray, is there anyone listening and not acting silly? These women are a disgrace. So there seems to be a consensus over the behavior plans, but we're not necessarily looking for the political reasons. We're looking to see the interaction between Black men and Black women, and how that we conduct ourselves on a public platform. And is there a divide in certain aspects? And we're using this as a mere observational video to see if we can spark a talk about this. Voila! Let's press play.
All kind of experts in putting this together. It wasn't just me. We dealt with experts.
I've read something here. These women are old, single, and masculine. Okay, they need some deliverance. They obviously, name call. Well, not necessarily name calling, but there's harsh words we do on the view. But the more important word that this gentleman has said in the comments is. By the way, this is me reading on the video, not here. This is not people. This is on the video, the actual live video on Live Soul, Fox Soul things. And that's the way we're looking for. That's one of the complaints that in some aspects, some women, Black women act masculine towards Black men. And this is a no-no as we start by talking about the Black manosphere of some of the consistent complaints. And we also look at some of the complaints from I don't know what the women's variant of the manosphere is. I don't know if there is one. But the complaint is that Black men, are either very harmful or ain't building anything. So, and also not in very youngish and not available, this kind of stuff. So let's carry on listening, and then we shall throw out the link to talk about, your experience. We don't want to generalize, but we do want to experience as a black woman, your feelings on black men, if you are not best pleased, and also black men who feel that there might be some truth in some black women, being very confrontational towards black men, and what the reason behind that, and how we can, if that is true, how we can find solutions, and vice versa, the black men, all that good stuff.
In all fields of this contract with Black America. So we're willing to deal with experts in the section when it comes to women. So that's no problem.
Okay,
I'll write it. I'll help you write it.
Say you do get the money. How soon do you think your plan is going to?
One thing that I'll push as well is when I talk to many people who, and they say, is there anything I'm doing, I do offer to include them, and they do talk in circles, and that's a very important point. When you offer someone the ability to be a part of something they're critiquing, and they don't have to do drive-by criticism, are they willing to, lend a hand or help out? This is interesting.
I go into effect.
When
will we start seeing the benefits?
I'm not getting 1 quarter. Okay, this is
I said
this is something he's promising to the country, and he's gonna have to implement it in a way he feel that can fit.
Okay, but can I just ask though, what would you see?
No rush. I shall place the link in the forum. We'll come up to, time goes by really quick. We're just trying to watch that. The link's in the forum, so that is the link, right? Yeah. Anyone wants to jump in and we can talk about, if you've got an experience you want to go over, if you have anything you want to talk over, please feel free. We do try to create a scenario, a situation where people can have constructive conversations. If some of these topics do bring certain kind of emotional, passionate outlets, we will probably divide people by gender or divide people by emotional state. We don't know. But I've definitely invited people who have complained on the show. Many people view the show, but they don't actually want to talk, which is okay. But we're trying to create scenarios where people feel more comfortable to express themselves, and deliver certain kind of information that we can try to put up on a solution-based grid. We can try to fix certain misconceptions and all that other miss. Let's listen to a bit more while the link is out there.
This plan doing for the first year for us if he's reelected?
I'm not part of the administration.
Well,
I'm here for black people. I'm here.
What's very important as well for the black men to observe from Ice Cube is he has kept his composure. Many black men have many challenges, emotional challenges, and they erupt. And I definitely don't recommend erupting on public platforms, especially towards women. There needs to be a training where we do not erupt. And I think Brother Ice Cube is doing very good on this.
To talk to both administrations about the contract with Black America, the platinum.
Also, the body language and demeanor of some of the women on this platform, you can show they're not best pleased and they don't really agree. And this is something that black men have highlighted as well, like, communicating with a person who's already made up their mind about the particular individual. So this
plan is not mine. Didn't name it. Didn't put it together. All I did was meet about the contract with Black America. They added some things, and I'm willing to meet with both sides. They can add some things or not. It's fine.
And then, they ran off immediately and did statements that you're basically a Republican now.
That's on
them. That ain't on me.
Okay.
That's on them. That's not on me.
I just want to make sure. We just want clarity.
We can't all talk at the same time. I got to ask a question, y'all. With over 20,000 lies told to the American people by this president, I'm a former friend of Donald Trump. I work with them. I made money with him. Personally, it would have served me better to still stay on his side. Why would you believe after he gets black votes, his whole goal from 3 years ago was to siphon 20% of black male votes to cross over to vote to support him? Yes. Why would we believe that he has, once he gets reelected, he will follow through with any of these plans, as opposed to Joe Biden and Kamala, who would be in their first term and be more indebted to do the right thing to get reelected for a second term? Right. Why should we believe that Donald Trump would actually follow through? That's a legit question that I have.
He ain't followed through.
I mean, I don't know. You're gonna have to figure that out, because I'm not sure if he's gonna do it or not. I'm not sure what any of these guys are gonna do. All I know is we got to push our agenda, no matter who's in there. And
very good point.
And in a perfect world, the Biden campaign would have brought me in, and we would have really talked about the plan, and they would have did, great things to their plans to specifically target black people, but they chose not to, and that's fine.
But the thing is,
I'm not a supporter of neither one of them.
No, I'm saying it's not too late.
That's what's the problem. I'm an independent person.
You'll have a conversation with the administration if Biden wins and Kamala wins. It's not too late. So I don't think it's fair to like dismiss what they are. They're not in power yet. So they really can't say. They really can't say and promise things because they're not yet in power. We're not even in power in Congress.
You can't make campaign promises.
So why
and they have. That's what the
platform make the promise when they're in office.
Well, they put out the Lift Every Voice Can Sing plan. That is their promise to America and to the world. That is their promise. So the thing is, you can always promise the people who put you in power something more than what you just came up with. You gotta, especially when you know there's so much more that needs to be done. And he knows that it's so much that falls.
Links out there if you want to jump in, feel free to jump in. We're talking about discommunication between black genders, black women, black men. If there's a disconnect there, what is the cause of it? Is there a disconnect? What is causing men and women to not be able to be agreeable with each other, black men and black women, that is. And we've tried to highlight certain kind of complaints. Some black men say that some black women are argumentative and display masculine energy when it's not necessary. Is there truth there?
Short in that plan when it comes to actually helping black people, minority, people of color, diversity, all those are trick words, and black people don't necessarily get a tenth of that. So we have to really be smart and really make sure that money is touching the hands of the people who have really struggled in this country for hundreds of years.
I have a question. You said that the Biden campaign didn't reach out to you, and you said first. You said
they did reach out, but they didn't want to. They said we'll hook up after the election.
And to be fair, they're not the power in party right now. I want to ask you this if this is true, because I had heard from one of my sources that you were contacted for the Zoom call with Kamala Harris, with D.L. Hughley, Snoop Dogg, you, Killer Mike. They were all on the call and you were not on the call. And that was to speak, that was in September. And why? So you said they didn't reach out. You said the Democrat reach out, but Kamala Harris's folks reached out to you and wanted you to be on the Zoom call because they thought your voice was important. Why did you not participate? Choose to not participate in that?
Right. Well, we had spent, a lot of people time putting the contract with Black America together. And, I just thought that getting on a Zoom call with 12 other entertainers, all shooting what they believe needs to be done.
Let's see if I can download a video of a woman who gives advice to women about how to become softer, feminine woman. Obviously, there's times where women have to be hard and strong. Some men complain that some women don't know how to turn off, and some women complain that some men don't know how to turn on, all this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna see if I can, we'll live to 1 more minute of this while I download. It might take forever to download, who knows, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Have this stuff, get links out if you want to jump in. This show is about communications and back and forth. Are you a black person who wants to know more, or disgruntled over some behavior of some black women, or vice versa? Now's the time to talk, or we're going to end the show. But let's listen while I download the video.
To me, wasn't going to be productive. And I was also, because my lawyer, Matt Johnson, has a connection with Kamala Harris, and I was promised a call that I never received. So, that's why I didn't feel like I wanted to be on that Zoom call. So I feel like our plan is so broad that you can't talk about it with 12 other people who had nothing to do with it. And these are a lot of things that really need to get done. So I wanted to have a serious conversation and not just a rally cry kind of conversation.
But you said you would talk to anyone that was willing to help. You said you were.
I am, but I just said that they said they were going to call me direct, and I never got that call. So when you hear that, you're waiting for that call. It never came.
So no kind of way don't work if it's not the way that you started. You want. Got it.
Well, I want to get things done. I don't want to just.
The way of delivering that wasn't best for the lady to do that. Very sharp, very double negative on that one. But let's carry on listening.
In my wheels, talk to people who can't really make it happen. So I didn't want to just. I didn't want to just.
Well, the vice presidential candidate.
When I had listen. because I had the conversations. When I had the Zoom call with the DNC, the Democratic Party, we was on the call for probably over 45 minutes, and we never even got to the contract with Black America. We never went through any of the points that needs to be dealt with when it comes to the situation in this country. No one else has a plan that deals with as many issues that this administration or any administration could fix.
What I'm also going to do now is I'm going to promote obviously I don't know the history and past of some of the people I come by, but there's a Black woman here claiming to be a feminine rehab teacher, I believe. Her name is Dr. Michelle Daff, I believe. I'm going to put her. She's a Black woman. She's also a quite strong Christian, it looks like. But not but. I mean, people Christian or whatever, let them be there. I just don't want to say I'm promoting any kind of belief of other beliefs. But she does seem to do specialize in feminine training or something. So I'm going to see if I can post her link here. Now we're just going to run this video out and we're going to maybe play to see what she's about, because I'm downloading the video and it might take 5 minutes, so it says. Who knows? So if it makes it in time, but we shall listen to the last 2 minutes of this, then I shall waffle for a bit and we shall talk, and then if anyone wants to jump on, please feel free. If not, it will be our show. This might be the last time we deal with unless people request it, because I have invited a tremendous amount of people to come on, different time barriers all over the world, but some people have told me they're not best. Some people still feel would be intimidated to come and give their opinions, which is fine. Not everyone is developed to speak out. Play.
If they had the political will, and you have to give them the political will.
How do you feel about the video so far? Do you reckon the women were on the best behavior? Do you reckon Ice Cube might have stepped out of line? Do you reckon there was nothing happened? People talking while we even observing it? Is this microcosm of what happens, or is it just a small hiccup glitch? Or do many Black women behave this way? If you're a Black man, do you feel this way? Are you in the manosphere? Do you feel that you will find it hard to find Black women or not? Let me know. Well, not find Black women, but you find that you're around many disagreeable Black women. And if so, what is to be done about it? What is your solutions you have come to, if any?
And that's what's being done. I didn't want to put anybody on blast for that, but since they saying I didn't jump on the call, it's because I was promised a call where we can actually deal with this in a serious manner, and it wasn't just what I considered a rally call.
But I feel like that actually could have been okay, because you could have led the call and had supporters on listening to what it was that you're trying to get.
That happens a lot. People have their own opinions of what you should have done, even though he has offered for them to jump in. Remember, many Black people are not best trained in many of the things they want to do, but they are trying to start initiatives.
Get them to be able to help rally with the.
I had been doing press about the contract with Black America outside of that, so I was using my press to promote the contract, not just to them dudes on the call, but to all of America, to all of Black America. That's where my thing is. So I wasn't on the call, but that don't mean we couldn't have a call. So that's what happened. And I don't feel like I made a mistake for not being on the call.
I will tell you, we have to wrap the show. We're way over, but I just want to say, Cube, I hear what you're saying, but I just want you to know, as Black women, how we would feel with, there's no mention specifically of Black women in the contract with Black America. They do have to
stand on top of that. I just told you, you can write that up if you want
to. We're not out here jumping on calls.
We all Black, so we all.
We're not meeting up with Jared Kushner and Donald Trump about this. You are.
So that was quite sharp. Let me just read up. Not if anyone really cares. If we break it down to the energies, we have masculine energy and feminine energy. So masculine energy is decisive action. Feminine energy is creativity. Masculine energy is risk taking. Feminine energy is nurturing. Masculine energy is achieving. Feminine energy is experiencing. Masculine energy is controlling. Feminine energy is being. Masculine energy is very competitive. Feminine energy is very collaborative. So I don't know if the women were displaying that too much from here. Masculine energy is intellectual. Feminine energy is expressive. And then finally, the most important, masculine energy is giving, while feminine energy is receiving. So this is the many men, they complain that in certain aspects, certain women, they match them with the masculinity, and maybe at times that is necessary. I don't know, but generally there is a call for women to be more feminine in certain aspects, and then also the women also call for men to be more masculine in many aspects. So we're just reviewing that.
So you can't say, well, if you don't like it, add to it. You're out here. You took that job. You took that position to lead this. Don't say you.
I'll write up the black woman's part of the contract for you.
Yeah, we got 200.
How many words do y'all want it to be? The thing is, you guys are the experts, but here we go again. You just want to talk. Nobody want to help me. Just want to talk. But y'all the experts.
Very good point. Everyone wants to talk. No one help me. That you will find that if you try to help black people, this in certain aspects this will happen. But we are looking at dynamic between black men and black women. This one.
Experts on black women. So why won't y'all help me? See, that's the problem.
I can tell you why.
Everything's everything. She knew Ice Cube was in the pocket of Trump. Don't know if that was true or not, but it's something we can explore. There is this thing where, sometimes there is this kind of like behavior where if people talk to certain people, they're automatically enemies. I think when you hit a political standpoint, you will have to end up talking to all people. Definitely in politics, you have to do that. When you talk to people, it's how you talk to people and how you communicate and how you affiliate. It's very important. But good news, we'll play this a bit more. We've downloaded the feminine video, so we're going to play this for one more minute. Then we're going to play it and see if the sister is going to give some good advice on how to be feminine.
You just let me guys party. So anyway,
the initiatives have already been set.
But this kind of behavior from the women is what people, men or black men, I should say, in the manosphere, part of the complaints. We will be highlighting the complaints that black women have towards black men, but this kind of behavior, some might not say is extreme, but might be like more of an iceberg, hiding many other kind of connected issues. But it's this. When I read out the feminine energy and the masculine energy, you're seeing this is really masculine all the way through. Generally,
I wish you guys. We're way over. We're way over. I wish we would have you for more time because I feel like you have a lot to say, Ice Cube, and you're very influential, and we appreciate this. And I hope we can respectfully debate and no feelings hurt. I don't think you are the type that would get hurt. I appreciate y'all. I wish we could have you back and have more of this conversation.
All right, now we're gonna open up this sister. I think let me find her stuff. Video file. Hold on. Where are you? Is this one? Should have named it. All right, let me.
Michelle.
All right, so there's her name. There's sister's name. So she's clearly putting the Bible stuff there, so she's into the Bible. Good, excellent. Okay.
Good morning, gorgeous. How are you ladies doing this morning?
So this is a black lady I came across on the internet. If those women who wish to explore femininity, and some women feel that they don't have time to rest in their femininity or be feminine because of the world and not being around good men, blah, blah, that kind of stuff. And so there are women out there, black women, who try to train black women how to reclaim their femininity and to identify the value of it. And this is one. So I've placed her name in and a page in the link. But let's listen to what she has to say. She's any truth there.
I hope you're all doing wonderful. If this is your very first time here, then welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Michelle. And if you're returning, then welcome back. You're here today for another session.
We're going to observe is this sister's demeanor and delivery similar to the women on the last show, the last political viewing. Let's see. And she's also going to give advice of how she maintains femininity.
In feminine rehab. And today we're going to discuss going from hard to soft.
So that might be very helpful to some women who feel when they are debating men or this kind of stuff, they lose themselves. This might be quite
helpful. As a feminine woman. So go ahead and sit back, relax, grab something to drink.
I am promoting this show. This is not part of the show. We don't know this lady individual, but we do support all black channels, especially they're being constructive. So go and support her now. Like her page.
Grab something to write with, and let's talk about this.
All right. So we can rebranding yourself. All right. Very cool.
Today's session was inspired by some of the comments and messages that I've been getting from you ladies that are telling me that you've come from environments or situations that have forced you to become very hard.
So that's very important. As we saw with the last video, some of the women collectively were very hard towards Ice Cube. Ice Cube might have been the most controlled, calmest one of all them, to be fair.
And you're having a hard time figuring out how exactly you can soften up. As a feminine woman, being soft is half of the battle. So if you're having a difficult time getting there, then it's important that you open up your mind, open up your heart, and be receptive to all of this information because it's all going to help you. So remember, as a woman in this world, you are who you are based off of your circumstances, based off of the things that you are built with genetically, and based off of things that have happened to you. So a lot of times we kind of move through life and we hold on to all of these things. And a lot of it strips away who we are slowly over time. And we have to build ourselves back up so we don't live in a place where we're reacting to everything. When you live your life in defense,
the sisters on the last video were reacting to a lot of things, by the way.
Mode, and you've built your entire personality in defense mode, then you're robbing yourself.
Very important point there, defense mode. I think this is what some of the brothers have been complaining about when trying to reach a consensus with some sisters. They seem to be in defense mode. Don't get me wrong, many men are in defense mode, but we're looking from this angle at this point.
Of your happiness and your joy, because then you're living in reaction to people and situations that have happened in your life. So this is what I want you to reconsider, that you are rebranding yourself as a person, because if you don't and you just try,
keep in mind this is a woman, a lady woman training on femininity. Much important for me to find women do that than men. I think women should be probably best trained to give this kind of advice. Could be wrong, but I suspect I'm right to some degree.
To add these things to your life, they will not stick. You have to reconstruct your entire essence as a woman, especially if you know from the messages I've been getting that you've had some damage along the way. And we as people have all had some damage along the way. So it's up to you and only you to be able to reconstruct that. So when a company rebrands something, a product, let's say, they go through a series of changing the label, changing the packaging, maybe changing the way they advertise it, changing the price on it based on how much it costs to rebuild the products, right? And people think, wait a second, wasn't this called something else before, or didn't have a different packaging? And then they get used to it and they enjoy it and they move on. So with you, this is the same concept. Many of you will tell me that your family is not accepting of this new person that you're trying to be, or your friends are looking at you funny because all of a sudden you care about your appearance, you care about the way that you present, you change the way you speak, you're not cursing anymore, you're not listening to certain kinds of music anymore, and people are wondering what's up with you. Well, it's the same thing with rebranding. You're coming out with this new product based on something old, and you're redesigning it to be better, to work better, to look better, and cost more. So everything is going to change, and people are either going to buy it or they're going to walk away from it. They can complain about how they miss the old packaging and they miss the old smell, or they can move on with the next thing. It's up to them, but you don't change who you are in terms of the person you want to be and the woman that God created you to be based on what someone else thinks. So I'm spending time talking about this because if you don't get this concept, it won't stick.
Where do you get these women from? These from a Google search. Everything's everything. Do you disagree? Agree? it's more geared towards women. Obviously, we want to hear men's opinion, but what the woman lady is trying to express is some women feel that they are very masculine and they might want to be understand how to be feminine, and this is what the sister is offering. I'm giving. What am I giving? Oh yeah, I'm giving. I'm giving. If anyone wants to jump in, by the way, the links now have been posted. It was everyone. I'm also going to do one more video of hers. Quick, I'll just play a minute or so. She's got one more where she says things to what is that one she says? Hold on, she said masculine behaviors to stop now. There you go. So there's certain things that she's identifying as masculine and she wants people to stop. But we're gonna listen to more of what she's saying now, some branding kind of stuff. Maybe this resonates with many of the women. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe they're like you. They don't understand what's going on. But then maybe some women will have value in a person who tries to get feminine down to a science. So let's say, press play. Oops, I think I've skipped so much. So I think I've accidentally skipped some stuff. Oh, shame on me. All right, so we might miss some stuff. But what are you gonna do? You gonna sue me? Probably not.
Paying attention to your hands, your teeth, your face, your clothing, your shoes. All of it is perfectly curated to be soft. So after you wash your hands, you're applying lotion. When you take showers, you're applying lotion and oil to your skin and making your skin feel soft. You're paying very close attention to your skincare routine. You're washing your face in the morning and in the evening. You're doing things like putting on face masks once or twice a week.
For those joining just now, we've been looking at black men and black women who find it very challenging to communicate, or maybe there's a disconnect. We looked at an old video of Brother Ice Cube trying to pass his political plan to a group of black women, and they seem to be very disagreeable, very hard, very harsh. A lot of people describe this as a masculine behavior. And then what we're doing, we're looking at a black woman who's trying to train or retrain certain people who forgot how to be feminine, or maybe the values of being feminine to women. And that's what we're doing right now. We're downloading another video, but as we did download the other one, we'll listen to this one. But yeah, so she's explaining the importance of being soft. If you're a woman, you might understand this better than me. Go. Got any opinions or so, feel free to put your feelings forward or jump in and have a conversation. But let's listen and follow her page because she's out there, black creator, trying to get followers.
Extract all of the particles and free radicals in your skin that you've picked up during the day. You're doing things like applying acids or retinols to your skin if you need them, and depending on your age, to help with the cell turnover so that your skin can be baby soft. You are paying close attention to your hygiene. And in addition to that, you're doing things like wearing SPF to protect your skin. Okay, you're making sure that your skin looks more even and hydrated. Putting on moisturizer after you wash your face. I've met so many women that will tell me that after they wash their face, they put nothing on. They don't add a moisturizer, they don't put on a serum, they just apply makeup on their face, and you're drying out your skin. It's not about what it looks like right now. Whatever you do to your skin now is gonna show up 20 years from now. And then what people end up doing is paying lots and lots of money that they don't have for plastic surgery and all of these expensive rejuvenation treatments if they have the money to do it. And if not, then they end up just looking a lot older, a lot rougher than they need to look as a woman. So it's important for you to nurture your skin. Add lotion to your feet. Allow your feet to be soft. You know, if you're married and you're in bed with your husband and your feet rub up against him or your legs rub up against him, they should not feel like a man's legs. They should be soft like a woman. If you're a mother and you're nurturing your baby, your skin shouldn't feel rough and scaly on that baby's face. It should be soft. Okay, you're a woman. Just remember that men and women are different. So what you do versus what your husband does are going to be different. And we've talked about this so much in my series, A Feminine Impression. So make sure to watch those videos, but making sure you're taking a shower twice a day or more. But first, to make it really creative and funky and cool, I like that the chorus was taught by a woman who was doing something great. I was also able to learn how to create a mood board. Now, sweetheart, as you're listening to this video, it's going to be important that you realize that in your life, you're going to go through many seasons. You're going to have times in your life where you're growing and developing, and then later on, you may start mastering and implementing. So as you're listening to this information, you may start thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't know this stuff. How come I was never taught it? This is why I messed up all of these things in my life. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to beat yourself. Ideal in the workplace, in your friendships, it's a giving energy. Seekers are not displayed as often. So you don't get enough examples to be able to see how you can do the same thing, but in a way that comes more natural for your nature. Masculine behaviors are behaviors that are doing. They are competitive. They are seeking. They are challenging. They are aggressive. And feminine energy is usually going to be the opposite. So if it's a giving energy, then feminine is a receiving energy. If it's a doing energy, then feminine is a relaxing energy. And you see how you're going to need both for different things in your life. Although as a woman, you're going to have a combination of masculine energy and feminine energy, it's important for you to understand that you operating within your nature as a feminine woman is not only going to be ideal, but it's going to be more productive for you. It's where your power lies. So you can be doing the same thing as someone else, but doing it in a feminine way. So that way it doesn't come off as abrasive, challenging. It actually comes off very enjoyable and you get the results that you want. And understanding the bigger concepts around these energies is going to be more important than me giving you lots of different scenarios. Because once you understand the concept, then you can apply it to everything. So as a woman, what you're gonna find is that men do not typically take well to women operating in their masculine energy. And this is not necessarily only for dating. This could be a family member, this could be a boss, this can be a friend. Once they sense that energy coming from you, there is a direct clash. So you will notice them either pulling away, having a reaction, or maybe you just not getting what it is that you're wanting from them. If you are doing the same thing, asking for the same thing, saying the same thing, but relaxing in your feminine, you will get the response that you're looking for. So I want to talk mostly in the area of dating because as a woman, this is where most of us struggle. This is where I get the most messages and the most questions is in the area of dating. And that's because men and women are so different. And as much as we want men to be like us, and as much as they want women to be like them, we're not. We are different. So whether or not you're in a relationship or you're even looking for a relationship, the fact of the matter is you came from a relationship. You're going to be having relationships with different people in different aspects in life. So you do need to understand the dynamics behind the feminine and the masculine behaviors. So I'm going to give you a couple examples in this video of different things that you need to do as a feminine woman to be able to relax and remain in your feminine. Masculine behavior that I want you to reconsider doing as a feminine woman is bragging. Now, this is something that for some people comes more naturally because they feel that they need to be able to display their accomplishments. And this is very masculine energy. The need to brag gives off a competitive and doing energy. So as a feminine woman, if you're out in public, let's say at an event or a party, and you're in a group and you're having conversations, that's not the place for you to be talking about all of the great things that you have, all of the things that you own, all of the degrees you have, all of the places that you've been. That energy comes off as very competitive, very masculine, and very disclosing. So if you're talking to a man, say on a date, and you're telling him that you own 3 houses and you have 2 cars and
Yep, is bragging something you do? So I think I actually muted before with my thing muted. Yeah, is this finding good advice? Is this something that you can relate to? Is this something that's helpful? Let me know. I have set the link out there for you to jump in. We are we're well within the second hour now, so let me know if you're finding. For those who are joining now, I'll just break down what's happening. We're talking about the dynamic between black men and black women, and how sometimes it's hard to get for the two groupings to communicate. And we show the video of Ice Cube getting in a debate, strong debate with 3 or 4 other women, black women. And we then start referencing certain complaints that people in the manosphere have about masculine energy, masculine men. So we're showing a black woman here who's got a show, who trains trains women, I should say, about how to be feminine, if they value that at all, if they're aware or not aware, this is what they're doing. So if you can follow this sister, if you agree with what she's doing, give us some likes and all that good stuff. I've put the link somewhere in there, but there you go, find it.
And you do all of these things with your money, and you start just kind of giving him this whole spreadsheet of all of your life accomplishments. Number one, it's a turnoff because it's not necessary. If a person gets to know you, they will eventually get to see all the great things that you have, but it comes off as you're putting it on display for a reason. You are using it as a means to elevate yourself in some way, in hopes that maybe by saying these things, he'll find you more attractive, where you're kind of putting yourself in competition or in comparison with other women. And it also takes away from his shine as a man. As a man, that's his job to be impressing you, not your job to be impressing him and giving him reasons to date you or to like you. You're not allowing him to be able to tell you all of these great things that he has, that he wants to do for you, that he can invite you in his life too. Now, don't be confused, because I've been in situations like this where the woman that's bragging and trying to show this man all of these great things about her, and the man is kind of going back and forth with her when there's another woman standing there. And as that woman is just kind of standing and just kind of smiling and observing, that man is attracted to her. And at the end of the conversation, that man asks her for her number, the one that was quiet, rather than the one that was bragging, because you're telling him something about yourself if you feel like you have to do this. And there's another layer to that, where some men will use that as a means to use you. So if you tell them that you own 3 houses and you have 2 cars and you make 7 figures, he might be like, oh, okay. And then he'll start using you.
Okay, so this is definitely an area segue into men who behave that way. This is something that you have women complaining about. Men who are essentially, I guess, feminine men, I guess you could put it that way, more so in this dynamic users, but they're displaying a kind of more of a feminine energy than a masculine energy. And they're dependent upon a woman. Nothing wrong with, if you find certain agreements and arrangements that you want to do with your partners and stuff. But generally, this is defined more as using, if you're with a woman, only for what she can provide for you, and you're bouncing from women to women doing that. If there's any complaints, we want to fix this in the community, but we're carrying this in. What we're going to do, I'm going to post the link in there for people to jump in if they want to say anything at all. But what I'll do is, if no one jumps in, I'll just keep on playing this until someone jumps in. Hopefully, if there are women listening or men, you're getting some game on how to be feminine from this sister here. Go and follow her page, support all this good stuff, and I'll carry on playing until someone jumps in, or we'll just cut the show early. Hopefully, getting some kind of game, some kind of intrigue.
For the wrong reasons. He'll start using you to be able to use your things and to be able to claim your things, because you put it on display. So my dear, be very mindful of that. You don't need to disclose all of the things that you're doing and all the things that you are. It'll come out eventually on its own. You just need to relax, smile, listen, and rest in your femininity.
Okay, so next one is planning dates. This might be helpful.
Another masculine behavior that I want you to reconsider as a feminine woman is
just the breakdown. You know, we are tackling complaints that men who identify in the manosphere have towards black women, black men, and black women in the manosphere. And one of them, you know, is sometimes some black women are confrontational, masculine. So this highlight is that truth. What we're doing, and here's a lady who teaches about the difference between feminine behavior and masculine behavior. And also we have complaints about men, and the lady passed there, which was some men are not really providers, they're more users, and that's something we need to address. We might do that next week or following time, who knows, but there we go.
Arranging dates. Again, this is a very doing and giving energy. If you're a woman who is a boss babe, a woman who, you know, is very powerful in the workplace, or is a business owner, or is very popular and doing stuff all the time, you may be naturally operating in your masculine energy throughout the day. Like me sitting here right now and teaching you is a masculine behavior. It's masculine energy. It's teaching. It's doing. You sitting back and relaxing and taking it in, you're in the feminine. So again, it's not to say that you cannot have masculine behaviors. You have to have it in many aspects of your life. It's knowing when to take a step back and allow the man to be a man. So if you're used to always being the one that has to do things in your life because of your job, or because, say, you're a single parent, in those instances, if you're the one that has to do this in all other aspects of your life, then when it comes to certain things, especially dating, take a step back. As a feminine woman, you're not the one that's reaching out to him and arranging the dates, picking the places to go. Allow him to do that. This is so important because this is what's going to teach you about the man. What kinds of places is he going to naturally want to invite you to? It lets you know where he sees you, where he sees the relationship, how he would do things without your prompting. As a feminine woman, if you're the one arranging the dates, then you're putting yourself in that pursuing role. And it doesn't give him a chance to be a man. It doesn't give him a chance to impress you. Now, some of you ladies have asked me, well, what if there's a restaurant that I want to go to? How can I get him to offer to take me there without me being the one to pursue him and to get him there on my own? And you can do that in your own feminine way, just by bringing it up naturally in conversation and saying, you know, there's this restaurant that I saw on Sunset and it just looks so beautiful. The ambiance looks so nice. I really want to try it out one day. And he's going to remember that because men listen to what you say. They're wanting to do things for you. So they're kind of writing it down in their mind like, oh, okay, next time I'm going to bring that up. So you don't have to be the one calling him and telling him that we're going to go to this restaurant on Wednesday. Let him be the one to bring it up. And you'll also notice if you're doing this, my dear, in other aspects of your life. So in friendships, if you have like a friend circle and you're always the one that's rounding up the girls, picking the place, picking the time, and it's always you, then you might realize that you're doing this in other aspects of your life. It doesn't always have to be you. Now, obviously, someone's going to have to be the one to round up the girls. Someone's going to have to be the one to say, we should get lunch or we should do this, but it shouldn't always be you. If you are a woman who's returning back to your feminine ways, then you're going to have to look at these things because these things come from something. It could be that you were raised in a single parent home and you had to be the one always thinking about things, always planning things, always doing things. And you haven't been able to get yourself out of that mind frame. You've taken it.
Welcome.
Hey, Raven. Big up, big up.
Hey, yeah, welcome. I almost missed you. I was getting carried away. I hope this show has showed some kind of insight to somewhere, but what was that to talk about? You are our first guest, so you know you get.
Oh my goodness. I only listened to the back end of the the ice and the four ladies.
Right.
But this lady, I mean, I'm a big believer in femininity and pulling away from feminism, but this is quite extreme and a bit uncomfortable. I just wanted to know, I mean, what is she? I wanted to know her credentials. Is she? Where is she getting this from? Is this from experience or academia? Is she married? What's her position?
It's very, because this might, I reckon this might go in a very good good direction. What it is there is a disconnect somewhere. Now there's this thing called the manosphere, and there's all this kind of like new tube stations coming up, and basically there is a section of society that feel disconnected from a certain side. So what might be better is let us know your opinions on the sisters' approach, motivations, deliveries. If there's any value, or it's outdated, new dated, not dated, or what it might be, and then I can give you a feedback on how I came by it, and certain complaints and non-complaints and this kind of stuff.
Okay, I think from what I just before you start up again, she's kind of muting herself completely and taking herself out of the equation. I think there is a need for femininity, and I'm not going to pose this on the Black community because this is not a Black community issue. I don't believe femininity. I know it's always pushed on the Black woman, but I think what she's doing is she's kind of completely taking herself out of the fold of an experience, because I'm a strong believer that a woman should be a woman to give the man the opportunity to be a man when you're dealing with a man, and vice versa, right? But I think she's kind of missing a few. She's not being balanced in her thinking, and I think that it's a bit uncomfortable for me to listen to. But I'll carry on listening in, and I'll.
Well, yeah. But by all means, I can press play, and you can always stop and say, "Oh, I don't know about that." But what would be important is, and it might be happening now, in the sense of within certain sections of society, they feel there is a disconnect, and one of the complaints that men so if I can, because remember, I'm trying to find the people who's making the loudest noise, and from the men's section, it's men from the manosphere, right? And they seem to be leading the charge of complaints about generally women. But we're going to specialize in Black women because that's what the show's about.
Yeah.
And one of their things is a lot of the men feel that the women will not listen to the requests, as in like there's things that they as men really appreciate, and the women might not be listening. And also another complaint is I forgot the other one. Just jump out. I'll come back soon. But not listening to and I think women like this. And other men who do similar things, whatever, they've popped up to try to give advice by listening or just knowing from beforehand, whatever they claim, and trying to create a conversation. Because what you tend to find is Black men and Black women can't talk about, struggle to talk about this issue, because it is a high anxiety issue, and but the opinions of Black women are important. Hence why you jumping on is super fantastic. So if I can continue playing, you can stop it, or you can go for more about how you feel about the things you said thus far. How would you like to play this?
I'll just make a quick point and then you can continue. I think a big issue with the Black community is trust, and I think that's a historical issue, right, between the man and the woman.
Yes.
And I think the responsibility needs to fall on both sides. I think there's nuances to this that we could go into, but I think trust is the main issue. And I would want to pose a question to those brothers out there that are from that thinking. Do you think that you're available to kind of lead and guide the sisters that you want in this kind of and you want them to kind of hear you, listen to you, understand you, respect you? Are you in that position? Are you available to that? Before we kind of ask for women to
Yes, good point. And the reason I say good points is because, and this is something I was trying to explain last week. What it seems to be, there's this division between men and women where there's men who are saying they're masculine. They have refrained from doing any kind of behavior in their past that might render them incapable of getting work or doing anything like this. And they feel that they're looked past, as in like men who are more destructive might be given more of a look in, and this kind of stuff, while they're overlooked, even though they might end up being doctors and lawyers or whatever.
Right. The masculine, yeah.
But then on the other side, the women are saying that we cannot find these constructive men. Where are these men, these lawyers, these doctors, or these leaders, masculine builders? So obviously my thing at a certain point was to get those communities together, because you've got people complaining that one wants this and they will be this feminine energy giver when they find the person who give to. But just to play man's advocate here, there is also a saying about continuous energy, in the sense of like, if you were trying to find a man and that man was displaying feminine energy towards you, right, feminine behavioral patterns,
right,
and then he was to say to you, I will show you masculinity after I've been with you and you've proven yourself. Some men are saying that for a woman to say that to them, as in I will show you femininity after you've proven yourself, is almost like they don't then view it as a natural being, because it's then a put on. If that makes any sense at all.
No, I get it.
Can you see? And this is the fear
that could easily be taken away as well. So they can play the feminine role, or they can play the masculine role, whoever's asking for the other to do, and then it could just disappear.
So this is the fear, and that's why like some men they judge women by how their past is and how they behave, because they expect that that's what they might get in the future. They say that, I think they say that men judge women's past and then women judge men's future, something like this, because a man is there to provide for the future and a woman is there to maintain the behavior that she's had in the past, something like this. But
the provide and maintain thing,
this kind of stuff, right? So but this is the thing, and some men, and the reason why I showed the Ice Cube video is some men are saying that certain women behavior patterns are just very disagreeable, and certain behavioral patterns mean that no matter how they approach this particular individual, they're not going to be able to find solutions, because they've already been condemned before the conversation even started. And I think maybe Ice Cube might have showed the ice tip of that, where these women didn't necessarily care what he had to say or what he's done or his credentials. They weren't best pleased that he did this one particular thing, which was communicate with Donald Trump. And some men are saying, well, this is a very similar behavior pattern I see in other areas. One thing we're trying to do here is we're trying to break down some of those barriers, and and what you're doing is super fantastic, because you've jumped on, you've given your opinion, and your opinion is going, because your opinions will mirror many of other Black women out there. And this is the kind of conversation we want to definitely start and talk about. But if you've got anything else to say, by all means, or I can press play and you can stop and go, oh, what did she mean by that? I don't agree with that. Or do you want us to carry on saying some stuff?
Just a little bit on the IST. I think with those kind of discussions, I do think Black people, because I've had this discussion in my server about whether we should actually be even involving ourselves on these networks, and whether it's a setup, kind of a trap from the start. I don't know who was behind the production or who casted everybody to come in and have that conversation in Fox Soul, whether they were Black or non-Black. But I think people should think twice, right? Because I think there is an issue with communication amongst the genders. I think there's a lot of preconceived notions, right? And sometimes the first point of call is anger for many, and that's on both sides. And I'm not saying that anger is a masculine energy. No, none of the women come at me for it. But I think there's a lot of work to do, and I think people should be careful about what platforms they kind of put themselves on to have these conversations.
Well, I agree. I mean, if you study the work of Frances Cress Wellston, I think Nina Junior Fuller might say similar as well. I can't remember. But one of their things was that not more than one Black person should be on any station because they're prone to argue and disagree. They said this many years ago. And I guess without certain kind of training or certain kind of agendas, you might find yourself being more prone to disagree with other black people on and then obviously the concept of it not being owned by a black network and who set up is very true. I think what we're going to do is we're using this more as a microcosm of, or this is what spill out to the mainstream on some kind of show, and people are seeing similar behavioral patterns behind closed doors or in certain kind of other areas. Now, obviously, within the black community, there are those who are well trained and well refined in smaller numbers, but I think the fear is there's many people out there who are heavily influenced by certain behavioral movements and certain behavioral patterns, and it's to them that we have this kind of speech. Right. It's to them who and also the marginalized as well. I think the people who identify being in the manosphere will probably identify as a marginalized group, but it's a marginalized group that's actually growing in numbers, and it's spearheading. I forgot these. What's that brother's name, man? The people like the Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels. I was going to name his name.
Yeah, he's probably he's now, and there's a lot of like, not to undermine them, not smaller, but less popular men who's been doing it, but they're not as professional in the delivery. And there's bigger movements where they're kicking up, and this movement is what I can see probably bigger than most of the women's movements. Well, there are also now.
Yeah, I mean the Kevin Samuels movement. I've been so surprised just by. Because what I do with my servers, I bring smaller channels that are starting up that are about the black conversation, black discussion onto the server. And I listen into these small channels and I hear some Kevin Samuel views across the board. Now it's going to be a strange one. I agree with some of the stuff that Kevin Samuels does say, but majority of it I don't necessarily agree with, right?
Is there anything in particular? Because I've been studying both arguments. If you can bring up stuff, you don't have to. You bring stuff you don't disagree, just so we can start a conversation about it. Because one thing I'm interested in is the misunderstanding, disconnect between black men and black women, and the disagreements might be able to start that conversation. If you don't mind.
His outlook on high value, and I think that's just total nonsense, and just the way he goes about it. And I think the feminism kind of movement that he kind of touches on, that he's kind of against, I'm for that to a certain extent as well. So there's pros and cons to him, but I think he is a bit of a damaging character, and I think people do need to be a little bit cautious of him. But I know a fair few and brothers that I get on well with that agree with the tenets behind what
I was going to say, here's what it is, and this is because I do a lot of speaking in speaker school back in the days before COVID. And there's a lot of men who will approach me, and they approach me when I say things like, you should value men who work and hardworking and have jobs and stuff. And there is a lot of men who are hardworking men who take the time to do a career, who feel that they have been passed because maybe they're not tall enough, or maybe they're not as vocally enough, or maybe they're not as pursuant enough, or whatever it might be. Something where there's not enough in some, but they are actually very consistent and genuine and kind and this kind of stuff. But they looked over, and there is a fear that, you know, they are only available when the men who are not as consistent as them fail, and then the women come to them as a backup plan, right? And this isn't the best feeling, and a lot of men say this, and it's these kind of men will flood towards Kevin Samuels because for the first time you have, well, not first time, whatever, but you have someone who's saying, no, go for the men who do this, do that. And what I would say about Kevin Samuels is the reason why I can't judge him too harshly or too kindly is because he's doing something that was done in England in the cooking circuit and the pop star circuit, where what you have this very big goal that only a small amount of people can achieve, and his job is the person to not deliver it in a kindest way because of the sheer numbers. So if he came out and all he was talking about was how to find a partner, then you could argue. But what he's talking about, from what I'm gathered, is he's talking about in society, there's this small percentage of men who earn a lot of money, right? And there is much more women who want to be with them than there is men who can be with those women. to an extent.
Right.
But what he's doing, he's kind of doing the whole Simon Cowell thing where a person goes on X Factor and they can't actually sing because they haven't actually done the practice and this kind of stuff. And then Simon Cowell goes, "You can't sing. You're not going to make it. You're not good." He seems to have this persona that I would suspect he's probably picked up from that kind of studying. If just for me, I'm seeing how he speaks. And this is that kind of like, people will be very entertained by the sharpness of it, but at the same token, they can't critique him because he is trying to get, 1% of men to find, a 1% of women. So there's going to be a whole load of women who won't get that. And I think what he does is he tries to put it in a way that it's raw. Like, if you don't do these things, you can't get him. And if you've done these things, you can't get him. And I think that, now I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's how I interpret his behavioral plans when it comes to making a product. And the product is, this high value man show, which he, gets paid, this kind of stuff. So that's how I view it. And I know people are going to take it sourly or not sourly, but that everyone has their right. But that's how I distance the kind of emotion from what he does. And if I do extrapolate some value, it's that he is already starting his show by saying this is a small percentage.
Yeah.
And also one thing that men want to highlight, that this is something that, obviously, the men ain't jump on, so that a lot of men might be very shy and certainly need to work on being shy and stuff. But one thing that,
Nina, if you're listening, jump on, because I know
jump on, because
you definitely somebody that's ready to discuss this.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that the complaint is with women who are searching a certain kind of man, they can give you a list of things that men can't achieve. So if a man is, say, 5'3", he can never be 6'3". I mean, not yet, maybe the future, but right now these are not the things that can happen. And men are expected to not be able to change their physicality and rise to these kind of desires that women want. But there is a big argument when a man might say towards a woman, I want you to be this kind of size, or this kind of styling, which can be achieved, but then it's like they're invading the personal space. So the men are claiming, what is the word, double standards, which they shouldn't be complaining about, Jen, because one of the things is not to complain about double standards, because most of these shows are about accepting double standards. But in certain aspects, they want them to understand that when you feel a certain way about these requirements, you won't even know that you're doing them. And I think to everyone, there's the rant that I'm saying now, with brothers like Kevin Samuels, he highlights that that even by entering his domain, you're insulting many men, because many of the women who go on his show have actually left their husbands or boyfriends who make a certain amount. Yes, many have, and they've left their husbands who, I'm not too sure how the money works in America. It's different, like different ratios, whatever. But I think maybe their husbands might be making $50,000 US dollars, what it might be, and they want someone who makes $500,000 US dollars, so they leave their particular boyfriend in pursuit of a higher value man.
Oh my gosh!
In that process, there is what many men are saying is many men are aware of this and accept it. They accept it, that they will not be able to get the best women because they can't afford it. But then they don't want the women who haven't achieved that bestness criteria to claim bestness when they haven't actually done anything to lay within that realm. I think that's what they try to do. But once again, the manosphere men can explain themselves much better than me, but that's what they say.
That's interesting, because I assumed it was the other way around. I assumed he was getting men to kind of completely cross out certain women. I haven't looked into him. Is he even married, Kevin?
He's been married twice. And failed on both attempts.
Yes, I remember someone mentioning that. Yeah.
But the thing, one of the things is, I think what people say is game from any angle is good game, right? And I think the reason why people like Kevin and some other people get so much following isn't necessarily because of the hate that women might have towards them. It's because of the marginalized love that men have looked for a champion to speak, the downtrodden man, if such thing can be taken serious. And when they see him, they really are happy, because there's certain facts out there that people don't really know. But I think it's like you tend to find that a smaller number of men get most of the attention from women in general. And also, when it comes to intimacy, this is also a fact as well, where it's more so a smaller number of desirable men are getting intimacy and attention from the majority of women, while a major number of men are going without. And that's why you have this thing where they call it MGTOW, which stands for men going their own way, and incels, which is what's the word? I just think I should know this offhand, and always kind of pick up artists, and there we go, incels. Where are they? It's fine. They took it out from it.
I've heard
involuntary celibates. There you go. Yeah, right. Incel stands for. What I'll do, guys, is I'll also put a link to the manosphere here. There's been documentaries about this. Now, traditionally, funny enough, the manosphere, when it came from the kind of the far right, alt-right kind of direction, was seen as more misogynistic, and it probably is, and violence against women. The black manosphere seems to be coming from a different space, but I could be wrong. There doesn't seem to be any talk. Maybe there is. If there is, women, let me know about extreme hate for women, as in actual hate, and misogyny of that kind of type. But I think the complaint from the black is that they find it very challenging to communicate to certain women who display certain characteristics, and one of the characters they're saying is a masculine energy, meaning they're competing with someone who's doing the energy that they're meant to specialize in. This is what's the complaint. Now, I don't want to always talk too much about that direction, because the complaint from the other side, from certain, there's movements, and I think the movements that we can identify from the black woman side is potentially the divestment side, where they're saying that as women we don't feel safe from certain black men, certain black community, and also men are not building, and because they're not building, we have to do it for ourselves, and we can't in our family. So and we try to cover that aspect, but unfortunately, those particular women are so distrustful of men in general that when I invite them on the show, they don't know how to do it. They'll probably so you see, it's very difficult. But we can hopefully try to create a space where people feel comfortable to give their side. We have a new member, by the way, Rose. Welcome. So welcome, Nin. Is this Nin?
Oh, yeah. Oh, what's up? You got yourself.
Big up.
So Nin, I don't know how much you've heard, but we've been talking about the dynamic between black men and black women, and a disconnect potentially in certain areas. And we've been showing a lady who's been trying to teach black or women in general how to be feminine, if those who might have forgotten or maybe not to be too aware. And I think Sister Tash was saying that this woman, it might be get 1 or 2 points, but she's disconnected in certain areas. But before we really unravel, you've jumped on. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm just listening. Just get your point across, and then I'll come in later.
Excellent. So, Sister Tash, we've got a brother on the panel, so he can.
Yeah. I mean, Nin and I agree in certain areas, right? But I think listening to that woman,
yes,
it did kind of. I don't know what you've heard, Nin, in regards to the last.
What woman was this? What's her name?
This one here.
Into adulthood, you have to be able to reflect and say, okay, this was necessary for this point in my life.
So this is the woman here. Now, what I would say to the women and men vice versa is, whenever someone's giving you advice about the opposite sex, have you ever had a conversation with the opposite sex or gender about these particular tips? Because that's a conversation that we sometimes don't get to, because we're more concerned about the offense that the opinion generates rather than, is there any truth that we can unravel? And this is one method we can try to use to unwrap a constructive conversation, to see if that person is coming in the right angle, the wrong angle, for us to actually move forward.
Yeah, I've had discussions regarding some of the things that she's saying.
And is there any truth there? She's just flat out wrong from your opinion?
I don't think those that are close to me would agree with what she's saying. I mean,
any particular points that we can just unravel?
I'm trying to remember when she said something about the man has to choose the dates, for example.
Right.
I'm not 100% confident that has anything to do with femininity or kind of. I think obviously she's trying to say the man should lead, the man should guide, and what have you. But I think, like I said before, I am all about a woman giving a man the opportunity to be a man. But I think she's gone too far. Like, she's completely muting herself. She's not bringing the balance of of what she brings to the table. It's all about kind of, don't get me wrong, looking after yourself. That's a very important thing just in general. But I think it's...
Let me jump in on that.
It's doable in the West. It's doable in the UK, and in
yeah. You have to explain
your
experiences. But did you want to say something before Sister Tash?
Yeah, no, because she was saying that I think she's muting herself, right? I didn't listen to this video, right? But it does probably kind of sound that she's basically saying, put your man first, let him lead. That type of whole traditional woman type of like being against modernism and being a modern woman, right? It kind of will sound that she's muting herself, Tash, because of the society that we live in now. Do you know what I mean? Because the society might be so extreme to the point where now the woman is saying that the man ain't shit, right? So to even hear a woman saying put the man first, it's like to a woman, it might be a bit, it kind of shocks you back, like, oh, hold on.
No. I think putting the man in a position to lead and guide and direct you is important, provide and all the rest of it. But I think what she's doing...
What did she say that you don't agree with directly?
No, just that I can't remember. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, but I just remember.
Well, let me see if I can recap, and then you can. So
yeah.
I think in the context of the dating thing, I think she was saying that when you're first dating with a man, rather than asking him, let's go here, let's go there, find out where he wants to go, and then facilitate that. And then she said, if you ever want to go somewhere, rather than straight up ask or demand or tell, what you could do is you could like mention in the story, like, I really would like to try, I really have to, try some kind of Ethiopian or whatever it might be. And then that allows the man to then invite you out. So he feels valued that he's listened to something you enjoy and he'll treat you to it. That was the science.
Beautiful. What's wrong with that?
I think that's games. I think that's like reverse psychology. I think there's loads of, that's not being straight and direct. That's not having that honest relationship.
That's courting. No, that's courting. Courting, you do need some sort of so-called quote-unquote game, right? You want to make it interesting. You want to showcase your personalities. And if it comes to a point where you're going to go out somewhere, she's giving advice on how to do it with a man. I don't see anything wrong with that.
To me, it's trickery. And I think if you're courting has to lead to marriage now. So the reality is, I think for me, you don't have to be direct in an aggressive way, no. But I think being clear about who you are, where you stand, having morals and having self-respect, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to kind of play these kind of psychological games.
Well, hold on. This is and you're doing a very good point there, and this is I think I just wanted to point out something that there's a female who's on the screen who's talked about a way of pleasing men, something that men might be best pleased with. And Tash has disagreed with something, but then the Mel has said this actually is quite useful. And what I'm saying is, if the goal is to please your man in this role, well then that from that standpoint she's got a tick, because Nin goes, I agree with that. And does that make sense? If the goal was,
he straight away was like,
and that's the issue though. No, what you just mentioned, Rap Raven, is perfect, right? That there is the issue, because women nowadays generally, they don't want to hear what a man's got to say. They don't want to hear what makes a man tick, what turns him on, what makes him what does he like in a woman. They just want to impose what they feel onto what he might like, and we're telling you, no, listen to what I'm saying. This is what I like. No, you don't like it. No, how can you like that? No, of course you don't like that. And you were like, so what you just mentioned there is perfect analogy, because I just said, yeah, perfect. I agree with that. That's one tick. Tash said, no, that's psychological warfare, and that's
no, because then if she's saying something that is not necessarily the case to you, and we're talking about from a human level, forget her being a woman just for a minute. If you're doing a business deal or whatever, you want clarity, you want transparency when you're getting involved with somebody. And I think there's no need for those kind of games. And I think, unfortunately, one moment, I think our community is known to play games like that. I do think, and it goes with the men and women as well, where we're not as transparent and our moral code is not aligned. because we shouldn't have to do that. Make it spicy.
You're looking too, sis. You're looking too deep into it. We're talking about having an Ethiopian. We're talking about having an Ethiopian roti with anjera. That's what we're talking about. Having a meal. That's it's
she's
not
kind of like having to lead him into this, and it's like this. For me, it feels a bit. Some of the stuff.
But that's that's what a man likes, though.
It's a bit seductive.
A man likes that, though. A man likes a woman seducing her man. That's something that a man likes.
Yeah, but I think when they're courting, and as Muslims we know this, they're not there yet, even though it's a case that they should be there in terms of marriage. And I think you need to hold just transparency at that stage. That's my opinion anyway. I think that's where we go wrong. I think the whole spicing up.
So come out without the makeup. They don't come to me without makeup. Come with straight makeup. Don't play games. Tell me exactly how you look like. Bro, imagine I said that. No, I'm saying if I said that, it would sound. No, I'm saying it would sound silly. It would sound silly.
Let me just come in for a second. That's the way it should be. It's very, and let me just thank you both, because you're highlighting something that's very important, and that is there is a disconnected understanding of what both the needs are. And what we're trying to establish is what makes a person feel good and whose role is it to do such, right? And this might be connected to the bigger question. And this is why we definitely want to get other black men and black women from different societies, different ways of to chime in. But from the man's standpoint, what Tash has delivered is what they've mentioned, as in they feel that there's something that they want that might be very simple, but then the woman feels that she's losing a lot by delivering it. And this is the disagreement that seems to be circular. And this is something we should unpack. Is there a way for a woman to make a request or a man to make a request where it gets delivered? One of the requests Tash said was like, you could give yourself to a particular man and he hasn't earned it. And I think that's very important. And what's interesting enough is the men from the manosphere, these kind of men, they don't want you to be with men who don't earn your love. They want you to stay well clear of unworthy men and make sure that you give men like them the attention. And there's ways by the dating process, or even there's certain questions that they want to push forward, like, what were you doing beforehand? Do you have children? Were you married before? If you have children, do you look after them? Why do you have children? You're not married to the woman. These kind of questions, the men in the manosphere are very, very concerned, and this is the disconnect that they might not be able to have their say, and they might feel that the things they say will be looked over or might be seen as very harsh. What they like about the Kevin Samuels and these guys is they're straight talking. They're straight talking. And I feel they feel that some women in certain communities are not used to that straight talking by saying, here's what I want. And I think this is the disconnect there, where they don't know how to tell. Like, they've tried every other way saying, we want this. Like, how else do we let them know? And if every man comes to you and says that what this woman has said about wooing or seducing men is correct, if it is correct, are women... would women agree with this? Now, we've got a question from Gloria Miller. Are you gay? Is that, I don't know who's that to. Would you like to jump in, Gloria? I don't know who that's to. You talking about the manosphere? You talking about men in general? You talking about, are you?
I think she might be a troll.
That's a troll. That's a troll. Don't pay attention. Yeah, don't pay attention.
Okay, it's a shame, because we even welcome trolls if they can be constructive, but if you can't be constructive, it probably won't work. All right, cool. Well, this is the thing. So, with so this is all I can do is I try to sit in the middle of two different disagreements and groups and try to mediate so there can be a deeper understanding of where people are coming from. If men from the manosphere came to you and this was their request, do you reckon this is something that you as a woman or black women in general could do, or not really?
I do want to say though, Nin and I, we're both married. We've both got partners.
Yes,
so we're both people, right? So I'm not necessarily speaking from
a single perspective.
Yeah, I'm not speaking from a single perspective, because I think for me, I'm trying to look at what.
But you still know what you like and what you don't like, right?
Yeah, but I have to bear in mind that I'm probably looking at it from an objective kind of perspective. right? And I feel like transparency is key. So I'm really like against game playing, but I mean, if obviously, Nin, you've got your perspective, which is different to mine, which is interesting because
I don't see it as game playing. That's the what you see as game playing, I see as just courting, you know, someone just making it spicy, you know, she's thinking about my needs, you know. Normally in today's day and age, as a man, sorry to say, Tash, if in my dating life, right, before I was single or whatever, women would be like, it would be just a given. They would be like, oh, that's where we're going. You know what I mean? It's just, and it was not even a thing where normally guys would talk back to. It was just a case of, oh, thank God she's even coming out with me. You know what I mean? Let alone where she's going, right? No, I'm saying generally that if a man wants a girl, right, and he plucks up the courage to finally ask her out, right, for her to say chicken chow mein, or she says wasabi, or whatever she says, it doesn't really matter as long as she's coming out with me. That's what. But now we're at a point where men are saying enough, right? Enough is enough, right? So it's like, what about me, right? What about what I like, right? I might like Ethiopian. I might not. I might be a vegetarian, you know. So like, it's just basically saying, just put the onus back on the woman to take some accountability and understand that everything is just not about her. That's what it's really.
Nin, I think you're being a bit unfair now. I'm not 100%. I'm not convinced that women are out there kind of directing men on dates, and if a man's a vegetarian,
Rap Raven, help me out here. If am I wrong in saying that women direct dates where men and women are going to, or where they're going to eat? Would I be wrong in saying that?
Well, there's something to the spirit. It's hard to quantify, but
just generally.
What I can say is I'm aware of the request that from a particular
be honest, Raven, it's fine. I don't mind if there's an agreement here, because you guys are gonna probably agree.
I couldn't say. What I can say though is there's a request, and the request is for women to behave a certain way in a certain capacity, and the interesting point is how women react to that, and that's what I'm saying. If men wanted you to behave in that way, do you lose a big part of yourself by behaving in such a way?
If men,
so for example, I mean, let me try and give you an example. I mean,
I know.
If you put in the form of games, but sometimes we change dynamics between the hierarchy of the family. So, for example, you might have 3 children, right? And you might be better than them at every single sport. But when you play with them at the sport, you change your method of playing with them, because you know it isn't about winning. It's about making sure all 3 have fun. So it means that you have to do less so others can do more. Right? Sometimes that method works from man to woman, from woman to man as well. So I think the request from the man in that particular
are we saying every time a woman says, okay, I'd like to go to the cinema tonight, I'd like to have Chinese rather than Indian, are we saying every time she? Not
every time. I think within this time, let's make it clear. I think. Let me just say so from this, I think this woman is talking about when you're courting and you're meeting, because when she's talking about, she said the first one was bragging about your achievements. So if you're married for 20 years, you will know your wife's achievements, right? So I'm assuming this is like when you're meeting someone and you're getting to know them, what behaviors do you do to really place yourself in their mind and their heart? And one of them is, rather than demanding or telling where you want to go, you let them either try to work out through a conversation, or you go where they want to go, because you'll find out more about the gentleman where he wants to go. And essentially, you know, he's taking you out, he's paying for you, whatever it might be, and you'll find out what he likes, and then you network or you talk on that kind of level. I think that's kind of where she was going.
All right. The only thing I'd say, it's like, I feel like she's putting herself in a position to change her natural kind of essence in terms of how she would conduct herself to be with a man.
I would agree. That, right? I would agree.
But I disagree. I would say she's conforming to her nature.
How is she going to keep that up? Hold on.
Well, before we go to conform to nature, let me just say this. I think, just to add it, just to make it make more sense, most men would probably want to be intimate with the woman the first time they see her, right? And what we try to train men to do is to not behave in such ways, but show restraint and show some kind of respectability. So even though they want to do that straight away, not to just lead with that foot, but try to find other things of an interest nature, so you don't have a one-dimensional interaction. That might be the same because you tend to find that if men really want to be intimate with a woman straight away, you tend to find that somewhere in the back of the mind of a woman, there might have a want things, because men tend to be providers in many aspects. If a woman wants something, she's going to ask. So I guess the refrain is, rather than asking or telling, like, I want someone this, try to go where the man wants to go and show your interest in the conversation ways to allow him to invite you to something you want rather than you request it. Make him feel like he's actually he's built up and learned your needs, so he can go, would you like to go to
but hold on, Raven, do you not think that's a bit dangerous? Because you've just said, okay, men they have desires, right?
Yeah.
If a woman is to completely be guided by this man at this stage, right, in the early courting stage, wouldn't that mean that those desires might be accomplished before marriage? And
but that's why a chaperone. No, but sis, that's why a chaperone is highly recommended. No, but I'm just saying.
We're not.
No, I'm just saying.
Well, let me make it make sense to this though.
I know what you're saying.
There's different cultural needs and understands, but what I'm saying is, most men won't tell you this shit, but pretty much 99.3% of every man, if he's around a woman, he wants to be intimate. This is like a nature that men and what men are trained to not do that. So the most unruly, untrained men probably lead, and you might see them hanging outside gyms and bars, and where they're just they're led by their impulse, right? They can't
outside schools,
yeah, and very dangerous kind of behaviors. What we try to do is try to train men to put that in the back of their mind and develop other interests around the female courting process. So that is the end goal after marriage or after a relationship, whatever it might be. So we talk about other things. I guess the woman equivalent is different. Is rather than requesting anything straight away, find ways to say your interest so the man can deliver these things without coming like you were asking directly for something.
But I'd also just want to add that this is where the women's kind of training also needs to come into play in terms of preserving yourself before marriage, the way that you conduct yourself, how you dress and what have you. I know people are going to come at me for those kind of comments, but this is extremely important, you know, when you're courting. And this is where I feel like women need to take responsibility at this stage. Because
let me just jump in before you finish that, because every time you talk that synchronizes with certain movements. So, you know, the manosphere movement, from a certain degree, many of them are saying that they don't want women to be readily available and on display and on social networks showing off many of the things that people find alluring, but to be more reserved. And also, I think Kevin Samuel says as well, a man should have the right to come onto you, and if you're on social networks, say take off all these images. I don't want you on social networks showing this kind of stuff, whatever. And this is like part of the movement but once again, these are very interesting things we can unpack. And I don't do you guys are you guys available next week at 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to do, because here's important. We have a male and female, man and woman here, both married. And when they speak, they of course have enough respect for each other, but they can't seem to agree on some of these points. And this is something that we see manifesting throughout the dating world in general, but the Black community. And this time we do more talk about, and it would be good if I could have you guys on next week early, and we can maybe come back on this, and I can maybe try to invite other men and women to talk about their experiences, because the problem we have with these shows is, and especially with the manosphere and some of the divestment, you have the most shy people out there who are very intimidated by either their opinions or how people might react to their opinions. And we definitely want to create
fences, I call them.
Well, I won't call it fences, because the reason it's like there's certain people, if they're being questioned in something, and they might feel that some of their opinions ain't valid enough. So we definitely want to create a space for them to speak. But if you guys, both of you, can come next week at 10, that would be most important.
Yeah, no worries.
I just can I address someone in the chat here? So someone called Everything is saying that men who are you guys talking about when you guys are talking about men and women? Because he feels that as is being too general. We're basically saying men and women, and he's saying when we talk about men, we're talking about different cultures, and cultures govern attitudes. And he's saying which men are you referring to, and he's saying black men are not a monolith. So I wanted to kind of just answer this point if I can, Rap Raven.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
So
yeah, go on.
so this manosphere thing, right? If you look at it from an academic level, you'll find that this whole manosphere thing is not something. It's not a new phenomenon, right? It's not limited to red pill, as they say, right? It's actually things that you look into books written 150 years ago, right? Quelling and trying to counter feminism at the time, right? Where especially first wave feminism, second wave feminism, third wave feminism, fourth wave feminism, right? So if you look at books written in late 1800s, when church and state separated, the patriarchy was kind of flipped upside down, right? Where women now wanted equality with men in all aspects of life, right? So you started to see women now, slowly by slowly, that's when you hear the second wave, third wave. Now we're in the modern era in the Western world where women are becoming modern women. They're going to university, getting degrees, high level paying jobs. They're bosses of their own. They don't need a man the way they did 200-300 years ago. So this is something which affects all communities, I would say, generally. It doesn't matter which community or which culture or which religion, because if you live in the Western world and you live in Europe or America, feminism is a big thing, right? LGBT, all of these things are big things which affects us personally, regardless if I'm white, black, or whatever. So when we come into a black space of East Africans or West Africans or Caribbeans or African Americans, right? These are the kind of conversations where we don't have to unite, but we can have solidarity and speak about certain things which might affect our communities. And we can see correlations to that and try to point the actual causes of what's causing these breakdowns in these relationships or such high divorce rates within our communities. And I think this whole thing of red pill, do not limit it to last 5 years or Kevin Samuels. If you really want to look into it, actually read into 100, 150 years ago books that were written against feminism, people that were against patriarchy, people that were against traditional women. They wanted to become modern women, right? And so that's why I just wanted to answer that.
Cool, thank you for that. And what I would say is just to the brother to make, just to spell it out, we're talking more so from a manosphere standpoint, black men who started the black manosphere, but there are other men who linger around that certain kind of concept, and it's feeling voiceless or not being represented, and feeling like, you know, they're being looked over and looked past, and because of, you know, men who might not be as who might not be as constructive as them. And did you want to do you want anything to that, Sister Tash?
Yeah, just quickly to the comment he's making regarding it being the white women's agenda, feminism. I agree, it's definitely from that group, right? But it has been an attack on the black family, right? There's been other facets to this, right? But that has definitely played a role in I don't even know if I can say the divorce rates, right? Mm-hmm. Even just the initial courting stages, right? It definitely has seeped into our community, and it's something that we should eradicate, right? And I'm not saying necessarily all areas of feminism, but it has attacked the black family. You know, we could look into the whole. Actually, let me not even go down now.
There's an interesting dynamic, and I will say this: the interesting dynamic is, I think there was a few guests last few weeks who said quite well. There's certain elements in feminism that is universally agreed upon in certain aspects, like making sure that women are not mistreated, they have rights to many things that women didn't have rights to before, and this kind of stuff, right? I think what the issue might be is the movement and leadership of how feminism was operating, the movement, and how black women were ignored, and how black women were put in the same kind of level, like black women have the same issue as white women, when that wasn't the case, and the dynamic between black men and black women were very different.
So they were sold out. They was actually sold out by the suffragettes.
Right. Well, yeah, this is something that complaints, and hence why there was the movement of the womanist movement, this kind of stuff, and yeah. So you know, I understand all that. What I would say is we've gone past the hour, which is great. But if Brother Nine and Sister Tash could join next week at 10, we can try to have a conversation. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, or which if you do, then you'll see all the ads. If you just follow this page, it'll come every Friday. It'll be good, and if you can invite your friends who might feel similar, that'd be cool. I'm going to try to invite, but once again, you find that people are going to exist through your voices because many people find it very shy to jump on about these particular topics, and hopefully we can make it more appealing for them, and we can show constraint and constructive behavior to make people feel that their views matter. So, any last things you'd like to say?
Just a quick one. I mean, I don't speak for every woman that is married, or I don't even necessarily speak for every Black woman out there, right? But it's important that women from all different walks of life do kind of join this conversation, and men that are in different positions or different predicaments, so that we can all learn from each other. Because I still have my own learning to do. You know, it's not a complete. I haven't completely kind of just perfected my position, right? So, you know, there's areas that I could work on. So I don't want people to think, oh, you know, these two married people coming and telling us what to do. That's not the case. Definitely not from me anyway. So yeah, that was it.
Thank you,
Tash. Thank you for having me on, Raven. Big up, Nin. Big up.
Yeah, big up yourself, Tash. Yeah, I just wanted to say big up Kevin Samuels in terms of, I know a lot of people misunderstand him, but he is doing great works for the Black community in terms of making women see that the patriarchy isn't such a bad thing. Because if you look at a red pill manosphere, the foundational tenets that it stands upon you would tend to find, if you ask everyone in that manosphere, do you agree with patriarchy? They would say yes, right? Would you agree that women need to be traditional women and coming away from this whole modern woman type of thinking, and that men need to be traditional males and provide and all of that stuff? They would say, yeah, right? That is a religious context, because Kevin Samuel claims to be a Christian, gets his things from the Bible. So he's just basically saying, let's go back to the Bible, guys, and let's go back to God. Let's go back to our intended nature that God made us. And let's go back to the patriarchy. Let's stop listening to these white folks telling us about feminism and stuff like that. Let's not affect our life. And hopefully we can start seeing a change in the community, within the relationship and in the homes. So I think that's a great conversation. Big up yourself, Rap Raven. I really appreciate you having me on here. And yeah, man, more life, man. More life to you.
Thank you, family. So next week, hopefully, we'll look forward to seeing Brother Nine and Sister Tash there. And we'll try to invite more other people. But for me, Rap Raven, the Black Bear broadcast, I hope you had a fantastic time. Where's everyone gone? Yeah, but that's the end of the show. Join next week. Tell your friend, tell a friend to be a friend of the station. Jump on. If you feel shy, give me a message. We could try to make the show more accommodating for those who don't usually speak publicly. But yeah, or you could just make a fake account and just talk with funny voice, and that way they won't know who you are. Have a good one. Until next week. See you then. Yay. End show.